Hello everyone, today is our third lesson and we will be starting with this transform Ctrl T shortcut. Well, as a starting point, let me explain the shape of this shortcut right now. Okay, well, it's basically a square and there are some corners over there, as you can see, and we have the edges of this square and the center of this transform square. Well, this shortcut has three main transforming things to do with any picture. The first one, as you can see, is the move and rotate and the scale. Well, let me start breaking them down one by one. The first one is the move. Whenever you place the mouse inside this square, it moves the object. Well, it gives you free movement. Now, whenever you hold the shift key while you are moving this object or this picture, it's going to move only horizontally and vertically, in addition to 45 degrees directions. We will be seeing that through our lesson. The second thing is to rotate this picture. As you can see, whenever you place the mouse outside this box, it gives you these small arrows, which means that it's going to be rotated the degree you want. Well, at first it's going to be a free rotation. Then whenever you hold the shift key, it will be rotating 50 degrees at a time, and we will notice that through our lesson. The third thing is the scaling, which is the most important thing about this tool. Now place your mouse at any edge or any point of this square, and it's going to give you a free scale, the direction you want. Now let's break this down. The first one, when you hold the shift key, it's going to make a deformation to the picture, okay? The second thing, when you hold the Ctrl key and you place the mouse on one of these corners, it's going to move this corner in specific freely. Now the last thing about this scaling is when you hold the Alt key, you will notice that it's going to start scaling from the center of this picture. As you can see, there is a center of each object inside the Ctrl T. Now let's go and apply this shortcut on some pictures. Now let's go through this one. I will be taking another one over here, this daisy, and insert it into Photoshop. Now we notice that the transform tool appears in two cases. The first one, whenever you press the Ctrl key shortcut, and the second one, whenever you insert a new picture into your file. Okay, now let me scale this a little bit. As you can see, okay. Now, how can I place this picture or this object? I can press the Enter key on my keyboard and it's going to be placed as shown. Now I'm going to press the Ctrl T in order to see this box over here that I have explained before. Now let's start from moving, okay guys? Now we have to place the mouse inside this box over here. Now Ctrl T, as you can see that it's the same shape as the mouse over there. I'm going to click and drag. As you can see, I can move it freely. Now whenever I hold the shift, it's going to move only on the horizontal and vertical direction, in addition to 45 degrees directions. Now I'm going to Ctrl T, click on it and hold the shift key. You will notice that it's moving only horizontally and vertically, in addition to 45-degree movement. That's it. That's everything about moving. Now let's move to rotating. Now the rotation case, we have to place the mouse outside of the Ctrl T. Okay, Ctrl T, I'm going to place it outside, and you'll notice that this pointer has changed into two small arrows. Now let me click and drag. I can move it so freely. Now you will notice that there is a box. There is a box above my mouse or my pointer which tells me the degree of this rotation. Now let me hold the shift key while I'm rotating this picture. Now let's see what happens if we did that. Ctrl T, here's the mouse outside of the box. I'm going to hold the shift and rotate like this one over here. Let me zoom. I'm going to rotate while holding the shift. You'll notice that it's 15 degrees at a time. Okay, that's it for the rotation. I'm going to hit enter and place this picture over here. Now if I ever want to rotate this picture in a known angle, how can I do that? Well, above you can see in the setting bar over here, you can notice that there is an angle box right there. I can insert some value, like for example 33, and it's going to be rotated the way I want. Okay, Ctrl Z, Ctrl T, and that's it. Now let's move to our basic thing, or the most important part of our lesson, which is the scaling. Okay, now as you can see, now to scale using the Ctrl T, we have to place the mouse on either on the edge or the corner. Now let's go there, Ctrl T. I can zoom in so you see the pointer how it works, just like this. Okay, now you can see that I can scale this picture from a corner or an edge. Okay, great. Now let's move to holding the shift case. It's going to show some deformation. Let's try this out. Ctrl T, I'm holding the shift. I'm going to scale from this edge over here. Let me drag it. As you can see that it's dragging only this edge, and if I chose another edge, it's going to drag it alone as well. Now this is where the deformation happens. Okay, I can drag from the corner and do whatever I want with my picture. I can press the escape key in order not to scale anything, and it's going to back to its original size. Now let's try out the Ctrl key. It's going to move corners freely. Now Ctrl T, holding the Ctrl, I'm going to click on this corner and move. As you can see, I can place this corner wherever I want. Now this is how we put our pictures in a perspective view. I can do this, for example, and I can even move this whole edge. I'm going to hit enter key, and that's it for the scaling. Ctrl T, you can rescale it again. Okay, now let's hit escape, Ctrl Z, and back over there. Now the last thing about this is the holding the Alt key. If we did that, it's going to scale from the center. Now let's try this out. Ctrl T, here's the center of our picture, and now let's hold the Alt key and the scale. As you can see that it's scaling from all around this box. not only one edge or 3 edges, for example, but from the center. And I really recommend this way because it's faster, easier, and more professional. Now let's hit the enter key, and that's it for the scaling, for the main shortcuts about the transform tool. Okay, now I'm going to tell you one additional thing about scaling, which is very important in fact. As you can see that while I'm holding an object using the Ctrl key, you can see that above in the setting bar that there is a ratio over here. This is the width and this is the height, and both of them are related. Now, how can we use this one over here? Well, I'm going to explain it in some easier way. Let me insert that picture again to Photoshop, and I'm going to hit enter. Now Ctrl T. As you can see that this ratio is 64.80%. If I want to scale this picture like 50% of its original size, now what can we do? All we have to do is to insert the half of this value over here, and it's going to change automatically in the other box. Now 64, I'm going to make it 32, and let's hit enter, and that's it. So easy. Okay, and those were the basic things about the transform Ctrl T. Well, the additional thing that we were going to break down today also is while you are using the Ctrl T, if you right clicked your mouse, you will be able to see some settings over here. Now let's go through each one of them. Okay, the first 4 or 5, let me say 6, 7, those settings were the same settings as here. Okay, so we're not going to use them from this place. Now let's move to the other window over here. Now it's going to rotate this picture 180 degrees, just like that. Ctrl Z. The second one is rotation 90 degrees clockwise. The second one is the counterclockwise. That's it. Well, the additional thing actually, which is really interesting, is the warp. Whenever I use this, I can just warp my picture the way I want. Like for example, I'm going to fold it like that. Okay, I can use these moving points in order to warp my picture the way that satisfies me. Whenever I'm done, I'm going to hit the enter key, and in some cases it's not going to work, so you have to hit the check over here, and that's it. Ctrl T. Notice that it's going to back again to this whole box. I don't want to do that for now, so Ctrl Z. Let's go back to the Ctrl T, right click inside it, and the last two things we were talking about them the previous lesson, the flip horizontal and the flip vertical. It's more like a mirror. Okay, and that's it. That's really everything about the Ctrl T transform shortcut. Okay, now let me delete this picture over here and close this file. I will be now talking about something else, which is the crop tool. Let me insert this picture over here. Okay, great. Unlock it. Ctrl 0 to zoom on. That's it. Whenever I want to crop some picture, I'm going to use the crop tool, which shortcut is the C key. Okay, I will be pressing the C, and you will notice that sorry, let me do this. Okay, and you will notice that this grid shows up in your picture. Now, does anyone know what does this grid do? Let me explain it for you guys. Well, it's called the third tool. Okay, now this picture is being splitted into 3 horizontal pieces and 3 horizontal and 3 vertical pieces as well. Now whenever I want to use this tool, actually there is a basic rule that says, let me do this for example. Okay, great. Now to use this rule, you really need to understand some couple of things. Now, as we have 3/3, we need to use, since we have these 2 lines and these vertical lines, we really need to use them correctly in our cropping thing. Now, let me explain for you guys. It's so easy. All you need to do is to follow the rule. Now, the rule says you can either use 1/3 for the land line and 2/3 for the sky. Okay, this is the sky ones, and this is the land, for example. Or you can do totally the opposite, like you can use 1/3 for the sky view and 2/3 for the land view. Now, as we are talking about these lines over here, after you do this ratio, like 1/3 to 2 or 2/3 to 1, you will have to place the main thing you want to focus on. It has to be placed on one of these vertical lines. Okay, now actually I'm going to apply this to really understand this more. I'm going to use the crop tool. I have pressed the C key and it has chosen this tool over here. As you can see, it's the crop tool. It's the same as your phones, guys. Now I'm going to use this grid. For me, I'm going to use the very first third for the land view, as you can see, and the other 2/3 are for the sky. Now this is my first step. The second step of cropping, I'm going to place this building onto this one horizontal here, sorry, this one vertical here, and that's it. Actually, I can move this up a little bit. That's it. I'm going to hit enter and boom, that's our picture. This is our professional cropping thing. As you notice that I have moved up my very first third into here. You can notice that there are some mountains over here, guys, so I can use this as a land view. Okay, now the sky starts from here to here and my land is going to start from here to here. And that's it. That's everything about cropping. Now, one thing to bear in mind, that whenever you use the crop tool, you can readjust your picture. Like for example, I can hit inside the picture or I can click inside it, and you will notice that the rest of our image or picture isn't deleted yet. So I can adjust this, like for example here a little bit, down a little bit, and that's it. Enter. Okay, now what if I want to really delete these crop pixels? All you have to do is to go there up and to check this delete crop pixels easily, hit enter, and they will be gone. Okay, that's everything for the cropping tool thing. Now let's move into something inside the crop tool, which is beside the delete crop pixel. You can notice that there is the straighten tool. It's really inside the crop tool. Okay, now what does this one do? As you notice that my building isn't really straight. Okay, I can use my ruler over here to show you guys. You see, it's not really straight. Now how can I fix this? All you have to do is to use that straighten tool. I'm going to pick it up and come closer to my unstraight line. All you need to do is to draw a line on the unstraight one. Okay, I'm going to click and drag just like this. You don't really have to go through all of it. All you need is just a little piece. You see, hit the enter and that's it. It has been straightened. Now you can save it and share it with your friends. Okay, now moving on to another tool. Let me go there and insert this one over here. Now let's say that I have taken a picture of a building and it's really like distorted. Okay, it's deformed. Now I need to straighten this elevation, for example. Okay, what can I do? In the same cropping tool over here, I'm going to right click on it. You will see that the perspective crop tool is right there. Now let me teach you guys how to use it on such case. The perspective crop tool gives you a grid which contains 4 different points. Okay, that forms the grid. Now all you have to do is to choose these 4 points. I'm going to choose the 4 points around this elevation, for example, like this 1, 2, 3, 4. They are really random. Okay, now follow my steps, guys. Place the first point on the corner of this building over here, this one on the other corner, and do you see this edge, guys? It has to be parallel with this edge of this building. Now let me do this, and I'm going to make this one parallel as well. I don't really have to be very specific about it. Great. Now about this edge over here, it has to be also parallel to this one. I'm going to drag this down a little bit. You can also drag this edge down just to adjust it, like so. Okay, amazing. Now we have the grid all over this elevation. I'm going to expand it a little bit. Great. Now whenever you are ready, sorry guys, we'll do this. You can now easily hit the enter key and boom, that's it. Now you have this elevation. You will have now this straight elevation in your gallery. Okay guys, actually let's do this on another picture. It's like almost the same. Let me unlock it and use the crop perspective tool. 1, 2, 3, 4 random points. Okay, the first 2 aren't random. Let me adjust these edges over here. and this point to be parallel with this line. Now I'm going to contain the whole elevation like this one. That's great. Enter. You see guys, that's it, that's everything. Now let's see, or let's say that this picture has been deformed. Okay, like as you can see, it's almost horizontally deformed. Now can we fix this? Yes, you can. You can really use the crop tool to expand your picture, okay, or expand the size of your project. Now I'm going to Ctrl key, hold the shift, and use this tool to fix your picture. Okay, now I guess it's a little bit better, and that would be so great. Okay, I'm going to apply this into the last picture, which is this one. There is a window and I want to crop it on its own. All I have to do is to choose the perspective crop tool. I have pressed the C key in order to choose or to pick the crop tool. Shift C to move the perspective crop tool. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. Expand this one and hit enter. That's it. That's it. Okay, now this is everything about our lesson, guys. Really hope it's useful, enjoyable, and professional for you guys. All you have to do is to try these tools out in your home, and see you in our next lesson, which is going to be about importing from AutoCAD into Photoshop. Okay, well, see you guys until then.